Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm gonna show you the basic pawn endgames. First, the rule of the square. It's basically is if the king can reach the square of the pawn, then he can capture the pawn. If not, the pawn will promote. In this example, after a4, as you can see, if we draw the square, it's like it. Just draw a diagonal arrow and we can easily make a square. As you can see, the king cannot go to this square. So this pawn will promote to a queen. But if we go a3, as you can see, on next move, king can inside the square. So the pawn cannot promote and the king will capture it. In this example, the pawn is on the 6th rank and it's gonna promote in a couple of moves. After f5, the king only move is king e7 and we go king g7 to cover this square, and the next move will be promote. But if it's black's move, black can go king g8 and make the opposition. The opposition is very important in the pawn endgame. Look at this 3 square. None of the king can go to these 3 squares, and the white king can't go in front of his pawn. So after, for example, king's back, the black king must stay in front of the pawn. Doesn't matter which one. For example, king f7, we go king f5, the king again must stay in front of the pawn. King f8 and king e6. As soon as king wants to go in front of the pawn, black king again make opposition. White king can't go to none of these squares, so it's back again. King's back, black king go in front of the pawn. Doesn't matter which one. The king again wants to come forward, again make opposition. Go back, go in front of the pawn, go this way, stay in front of the pawn. Again wants to go forward, opposition. And if we go f7 check, king f8, the only move will protect the pawn is king f6 and it's a stalemate and a draw. In this position, if defender king does not go to f8 and for example go to g8, it's a blunder and lose the game with king g6. As you can see, now it's the white king is make opposition and black has to move. After king f8, this time if we go f7, it's black to move and isn't a stalemate. After king e7, king g7, block this square, the pawn will promote. We know opposition is really important in a pawn endgame, but sometimes it doesn't work. For example, in this position, black make a opposition. But after king f5, as you can see, pawn control f7 and king can't go in here. And on the next move, it's white to make opposition and control the game and win in a couple of moves. Or if black go to king g8, we just make opposition on this side. And again, the same thing. If the pawn is a knight's pawn, that means on a g file or b file, it's really hard to win sometimes. For example, in this position, king go to h1 and it's a diagonal opposition, and doesn't matter what black do. If king f2, it's a stalemate, and if g2, just king g1, and next move it's a stalemate. But if white on this position go to g1, it's a blunder, because after g2, king h2 and king f2, blacks win. The next thing is key squares. If pawn is on the 5th rank, 3 square in front of the pawn is the key squares. If the attacker king can go to these 3, it's a winning. For example, here after king f6, king e8, and just king g7, and this 3 square is ready for pawn to move. But remember, don't push your pawn when your king is on these key squares. For example, here after f6, now the key square isn't this 3 anymore, and it's a draw. After king e8, make opposition, and white king can't promote the pawn. But let's think if this is our position. In here, as you can see, black make opposition. In this position, because we want break black's opposition, we go move f6 only here. After king f8, just f7, and black king can't stop the pawn. If it is a knight's pawn, the key square still works, but must a little careful. Here the move is king g6. After king g8, king h6. Every move is losing for black. For example, king f7, it's losing by pushing our pawn. Or if black back to king h8 to keep opposition, we just push the pawn, and black can't stop the pawn. If the pawn has not reached the 5th rank, the key square are 2 ranks ahead the pawn. In this example, the pawn is on the d4, and the key squares is d6, e6, and c6. After king d5 and key e6, king c6, as you see, it's a key squares, and in a couple of moves, the pawn will promote. Just be careful, not king e5. It's a blunder, because black king can just make opposition, and we can't go to the key squares, and it will be a draw. What if in this position it's black to move? Then it is a draw by move to the king e8. It's what we called distance opposition. The white king can't go forward because of black can make opposition, and it will be a draw. But again, black must be careful not to do king e7, because after that king e5. Now white make the opposition and will win. The distant opposition is when both kings are on the same file and there are 3 or 5 squares between them. None of them can go forward because the other one will make the opposition. In this example, if black go king b4, white just go king b2, and it is a opposition and will end in a draw. In this example, white go to the key squares, but black makes the opposition. If we move our kings, for example king f5, black just keep the opposition. So we go awaiting move by our pawn g4, and black had to leave the opposition. For example king h7, and we go king f6, and again we are on the key square. We go king g6. If black go to the opposition, again we push the pawn, and here black can stop the pawn. And the last one is if pawn is on the rook files, doesn't matter how many pawns, it can be one pawn or more, it's gonna be a draw if the defender king can go to these two squares. Here doesn't matter what black do, the king can stay here and it's gonna be a draw. Because after pawn h2, just king h1, and if king go back, we just capture the pawn, and if king wants to protect the pawn, it's gonna be a stalemate. In this position, black wants to go king b2 to stop the white king go to the a1. The draw move for white is king c1 to stop king b2. After king a2, just king c2 make the opposition. If black goes a4, just king c3 to make sure the king can't go out of the path of the pawn. If king b1, for example, we just capture the pawn. So after a couple move, we go to this position, we just make opposition every move, and black can't push the pawn because after that it's a stalemate. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more.